Welcome to Who to Know here on Beta Haus Live. I am Elizabeth Hedgepeth, owner and CEO here at Beta Haus Studio, and with me today is Chelsea Kaufman, who is the head honcho over at Learn Academy. So I'm excited to have you here. I don't know your exact title.
Oh, CEO, co-founder.
I know some places like come up with creative titles.
I know.
And those confuse me sometimes.
It's true. I mean, sometimes it's nice to have the like structure of the typical thing.
Yeah.
The last company I was in, I just let people come up with whatever titles they want, and they came up with some pretty crazy things that they spent most of the time trying to explain to someone what they did.
I get it. I totally get it. So what have you been up to?
Oh gosh, just working and family and lots of community events and things like that.
Oh,
it's been really cool.
So I have to really start this episode out sharing how important, even if you don't know it, you are to Beta Haus Studio.
Oh.
Because we met, and if I can remember the timeline right, because it's kind of fuzzy going back because everything happens in weird points. And I think I met you when Beta Haus was a concept and didn't even have a name yet.
Yeah, I don't think you had cards or anything. Mm-hmm. And we were at it was some breakfast.
It was a SCORE Women's Networking breakfast. And we were at the same table. And I was in the process of legal and all of that. And we didn't have a name and all of that.
Yeah.
And here we are. It is almost exactly 1 year since the incorporation was done.
That's awesome.
And so it's so fun to have you here because your encouragement that day was just great. With the idea and where we were going and when you're at a point when you're starting a business, just getting thumbs up from people is a big deal.
Yeah, you need that encouragement in the beginning to get that ball rolling and to keep rolling because there's lots of weird hurdles that end up in your way.
Oh yeah, they're like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, and you start questioning. Yeah.
I remember when we started having those same feelings of is this really what we should be doing? We're taking big risks. We're, starting this business, I also started with my husband and, putting all of our eggs in a lot of one basket. And so, yeah, I get that. And I think that when we first met, I remember you telling me kind of what you wanted to do. And I didn't know anyone else doing that. And that this industry is just growing and growing. That I know that so many people want to go out there and tell their stories, but they don't know how to actually physically do that. And that's what you guys were doing, which is so cool. Yeah,
we're trying to make it to where it was creator friendly so that if you aren't used to being on camera, you can come be on camera and you're not going to be testing, is this thing on? For the recording, you'll actually have something that you want to show people.
Totally. You'll get there. I mean, I'm not going to lie. The first few times I probably was is this working? Am I doing this right? Am I looking in the right direction? But yeah, it felt really good to kind of have that support system. And I think what was interesting was that I felt like this weird gradual thing happened that we met at that breakfast. And I don't even remember at that time if we were even thinking about a podcast or we were just knew that was probably something we were going to do. Yeah. We had the blog and we had social media and we had all the things, but we were always struggling on how to get the stories of our students out there.
Yeah.
And so I think that eventually we came around to podcasting would be such a great way to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And then once we got there, we met you guys again at Startup Week just this last summer. And that was the perfect time because we had already recorded 2 episodes and it was a horrible experience at this weird janky studio that they just kind of put us in a room and we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They're fine, and everyone should go listen to them, but it definitely was a rockier start.
Well, if you go on any creator thing, this should make you feel a little better, how to start a YouTube channel, how to do all of that. They will say your first couple will be cringy.
Sure.
So just embrace your cringy and know that is part of your rite of passage.
Right. And luckily, we knew that there was going to be some stumbling blocks. Yeah. So the first 2 episodes were with people that we knew really well. Yeah. So we were okay, just come and hang out with us and chat and see what happens. So, yeah, it was great to finally have met what you guys are doing and got some good content out of it.
So we're at our 1 year and I'm looking Yay. And I'm you're at year 5 and I am that is so cool. It's that seems so big.
Oh my gosh, I still feel so small though, but I hear you. I remember our first anniversary. And I think what was funny was that the first anniversary of Learn, really the anniversary of Learn lines up with my wedding anniversary.
Oh, okay.
That we got married the year before Learn started.
Oh, so that was a lot.
Yeah. I don't recommend starting a business in your first year of marriage, but we worked it out. But yeah, like it just keeps surprising me year after year, like how we've grown and how the community has blossomed and things like that. It's been really awesome.
So let's jump in to what is Learn Academy?
Sure.
What do you do? What are detail? I mean, I know about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's super awesome. So let's share.
Yeah. So Learn Academy is a learning center where people can come to transition their careers into web development.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we have a very specific program. It's an immersive program. So people are with us Monday through Friday at 9 to 5. And the idea behind that is that this is a kind of language that you're learning. So if you think about learning Spanish or French or any of those things, the best way to do that in the most efficient way is to go to France.
Yes.
Spend a month there, learn the culture, immerse yourself in it. And so what we wanted to do was that same kind of environment, only with web development. And so our program is 4 months long, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. The first 3 months, they're in the classrooms. So they're working with instructors, they're going through our curriculum, they're learning languages and different tools and tech stacks, things like that. And then the 4th month is an internship.
Okay.
And when we first started, we really wanted to support the tech ecosystem in San Diego. So it was not just like helping people come into the field, but it was also helping companies find good talent, grow, stay here in San Diego, and help everything kind of flourish. And so we knew that was like a 2-part problem. And so we wanted to help students come in and then help companies grow. And so with our internship program, we've now, over the 5 years, have worked with 80 different companies. Oh. And we've helped them find talent, we've helped them build internal programs and really just find what they were looking for in people. And then on the other side of it, we've had students like come from lots of different industries and transition their careers into this new field.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So being from a tech, I call ourselves a tech adjacent field.
Sure.
We're not like totally in tech, so my tech knowledge is a little bit lacking in that way. I know what I know, and I like saying stay in your lane, know what you know. Is this program for beginners?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So what we try and do is help people figure out if this is a career path that you want to go on. Okay. And I think that that's a journey. And we want to help people through their whatever their journey is. I am not in the business of convincing someone to come to my school. And so I want to help them make those decisions on their own. And so we have programs set up that allow people to start testing that waters.
Okay.
And so the average student that comes through has maybe been learning on their own for the first few months. They've been, doing online tutorials. They've been dabbling in code, or like, this is really great and I love this, but I don't know how to take it to the next level.
Okay.
And so that's usually about where our students are at. They're still very beginner. They're still really new, really green. And luckily, we've created this onboarding process that gets them set up so that everyone's kind of starting around the same place.
Okay.
So once you sign up, we have certain courses that you go through, certain things that you do on your own before you start the class. And so it's really just a matter, to me, when we are going through the application process, of determining whether you have the thought process, whether you understand the logic behind it, and that is that something that you're excited about? Is that something that you want to dive into? Because it's a boot camp and it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And so you really want to make those decisions on your own.
So sounds like so cool and well organized. Just the way you've got it. This is step A, B, C, and I love that, keeping it simple. Where did the idea come from for this?
Yeah, so I guess I just got a time hop actually this week. Oh. That 5 years ago we were doing our first open house.
Okay.
And when we first started, we were in this tiny little storefront in North Park. And it was right on Ray Street. And so they do these monthly, like, Ray at Nights that were art walks.
Okay.
And so we were like, cool, we'll just open our doors. And at that point, I think we had one, like, 6-foot folding table and, like, a computer and a chair, right? Like, that was it. And we got a banner made, and, like, we had this our first open house. But before that, the way it started was that our sister company, so Notch 8 is a web development agency that has been helping people build mobile apps and web apps for the last 10, 12 years. About 5-6 years ago, there was a lot of work. They were getting in all these contracts. They could not find the talent. They needed more people. And at the time, they had a office up in Portland. And the Portland office partnered with a code school up there that had this internship program that they were like, cool, let's bring on interns, let's figure this out. And so they worked together. They took on 6 interns. They hired 4 of them and started building out their team and started growing. And so those of us in the San Diego office, we were like, that was amazing. Where can we find that program here? And at that point, there was nothing in Southern California. There were no boot camps.
Wow. That blows me away. I know. Knowing where we are. It's like, right. Wow.
It grew really fast. And so we actually went to that boot camp. It was called Epicodus. They're still around. They're great. And said, hey, you need to come to San Diego because we need you. And they said, we're not ready. We don't want to move. We don't want another thing. They were just not in that place. But then they said, if you want to do it, we'll help you.
Okay.
And so we were like, okay. And at that point, it was Rob and Matt who was running the web agency together. Rob's my husband. And my background is not in tech. My background is in business development, is in education, that I was building education programs for nonprofit arts organizations.
Okay.
So very different. But the community building aspect and the building of the infrastructure of an education program was something that was really familiar to me. And so they kind of brought me into the conversations at that point, and we went from there. That, like, the idea of being able to help companies like Notch 8 find the talent, and then also help people come into this field that didn't know it was even a possibility, was really exciting.
Wow. I love it. I have an education background too.
Oh, cool.
Not that that's a surprise. So with that, I think you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to solidify how this works. How did you get your connections, and what are your connections straight into the San Diego tech community? So it's one thing to say, hey, I have this great program.
Sure.
It's another thing to actually have those actual connections that then make it feed into.
Yeah, a lot of legwork. So in the beginning, Notch 8 had been around at that point for 8-10 years, and they had built a really great reputation of helping companies grow and things like that. So we started there, and we went to their clients and said, would you guys like some interns? Like, would that be helpful? And so it was just starting that conversation, and it was an easy conversation to have because they were struggling with the same things that we were. And so from there, we just went old school, I guess, and went to as many meetups as we could. We just started talking to companies and talking to people, learning more about where their pain points were. And eventually, it became a very organic thing that companies were referring us to other companies, that, you'd go to a meetup and people were looking for help or work and things like that, and we were the place where they could go. But it was a lot of meetups, a lot of networking, a lot of speaking at different things. We hosted a lot of events. We knew that not only was that good for the community, but that we knew that was going to be what would make our students successful. And so we wanted to show them, like, this is how you're going to create this network and succeed, is by going and connecting with as many people as you can. So we got involved with a lot more organizations. That I'm on the board of the Girls in Tech, and that, you know, we helped organize San Diego Startup Week. And so things like that like helped us kind of get more and more involved in the community.
And that's important.
100%. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're starting to get our legs now that we've been around and starting to get into those. Went to a Girls in Tech event for the first time a couple weeks ago, and it was wonderful. Ben came too, which was kind of funny. Great. And I'm pointing off camera because he's back there.
Yeah.
And he had to, sometimes when he wanted to interject something, he's like, white man, take it as you want, you know.
For sure. Well, that's what I love about Girls in Tech, that I think that it is easy for us to perpetuate the problem by creating silos for these different communities. And I think it is almost more important for men to be going to these events than it is for women to be there also. And because we need to, you know, work those things out.
Understanding what's going on.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times they just don't even understand it exists.
Right. Or supporting it, and that unconscious bias is real and unfortunate.
So with the internship program, what kind of benefits do the students get from that?
Sure. So the internship program is probably our most successful part of our program. That students, they go through the coursework. The way that it works is each cohort has anywhere from 7 to 10 different companies that are attached to that cohort. The students get to interview with between 4 and 5 of them. And so just from the beginning, they just get that experience of going on interviews and going through that process, whiteboarding, having those conversations, and learning about a company and making those decisions. And even if that was just it, like, that in itself is a valuable tool that they can take from it. And knowing how to interview is huge and so intimidating. And so hopefully we're doing it in a way that it is slightly less scary. They won't say that because they're usually, you know, going through the process. But that it allows them to go through it knowing that they are going to get something. One of them is going to work out no matter what. And so hopefully that can break down some of the barriers, and they can work on the techniques of interviewing during that time. So what's great, they go through that process. They get to kind of rank the companies that they interviewed with. The companies rank the students, and then us as a staff kind of get together and play matchmaker and like figure out what the best options are.
Kind of like speed dating.
A little bit like speed dating.
Yeah, you got all the sheets at the end that you're...
Yep. Although it's almost like speed dating with like the little old ladies that help match people together, right?
Okay, yeah.
Like so we as the staff are like, okay, well, we know that this company's looking for this and the student's looking for this, that we know this is a really great match.
Yeah.
Even though maybe like they ranked at a 2 and this is like a 3 or whatever, like it's not always the one-to-one matches that are like the best, because we have this bigger picture that we're looking at. And so then the students get to spend 4 weeks with that company. They're working on a dev team. They're getting mentorship. They're getting a letter of rec. They're getting their first line on their resume. And probably most importantly, they're taking the skills that they learned and actually using them and getting to talk about that.
So from that, what kind of support then do you offer in career services?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a full-time career services manager. He's amazing. He sits down with every student and creates a custom career plan with them. In the middle of the course, we actually do our career development week. And so he spends a whole week going over all of the things, the networking, the resume, the LinkedIn, all of your social channels. They go on startup crawls where they go visit different companies. And so they go through that whole process. And at the end, he puts together this plan for them so that he can help track along the way, right? Like the student is the one that's going to be doing the work, but he's there to kind of support in that way and help them get through those milestones and I think the thing that is that we don't talk about is a job hunt is hard. It is people saying no more often than they're going to say yes, right? You only need that one to say yes, right? And so you go through a lot of rejection, and that's really hard. So we wanted to kind of create a space where people could support each other through that better, and so that they can go through the interviews, and even if they don't get it, let's talk about what we learned from it. Let's get to the next step. Let's move on to the next one. And Brian really helps our students kind of move through that process.
Cool. So the companies then, they have some benefits
that
they get out of it. So expand a little bit on those.
Yeah. So with the companies that participate in our internship program, we have done a lot of different things. And actually next year, we're really expanding this program so that we can offer even more services to them, because we've seen some new programs come out of it, of how internal internship programs can really help the pipeline within a company, can help support junior employees within the company and help them continue to grow. And so what we've been doing for the last 5 years is kind of building this model that could really help a company to onboard new people, to get them really productive in their environments, and that it could be something that hopefully then turns into a job. Maybe doesn't always turn into a job, but gives them that constant pipeline and path to that. And that, I think, is, we're in the next few years going to be kind of focusing in on how we can support companies to do that better.
So we started the talk with your 5-year anniversary, which I'm still just like blown away by. I'm like, oh my goodness, goals. And
it goes fast.
So you've got a party scheduled?
We do.
And I also looked at the date, and knowing when we're recording this, I'm like, oh my goodness, those are real, and that is really not as far away as it sounds as I'm thinking about it.
No.
So July 16th, 2020.
No, January 16th.
Oh, January. He typed July in here.
Oh, no, January 16th. Even sooner. Yeah. Our first class was January 5th, 2015.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to have the party is January 16th, 2020, which we are very close to.
That is like so super close.
It is. And even closer because you have all these holidays that just like make time, I don't even know, function in the way it should. But yeah, so we're going to have it at our space, and we just want to celebrate. There's so many wonderful people, not just the alumni that have come through, the current students that are there, but all these community members who recognize that what we're trying to do is create a support network for people to learn coding. And so we've had great people that come in as just speakers and things like that, and the companies that we've helped grow. And so we just want to have a big party and thank everyone and just celebrate this really cool community that I don't know, it just surprises me every day.
So where can we find out more information about all of this?
Yeah, so
Learn Academy and
yeah. So all of the regular channels, you can check us out at learnacademy.org. We're on all of the social things: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and of course our podcast that we record in this beautiful studio. You can check out at collaborationcode.com or anywhere that you download your podcasts.
Awesome. That is so cool. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Chelsea Kaufman, and I look forward to going and checking out that podcast and getting to hear it, and you should too. So join us next time on People You Need to Know.